Put it on, girl. Let me see it. Put it on, girl. Let me see it.
Let's get to our guest. Now, she came in with brains, boldness, and a whole lot of spice. I love a spicy girl, even when the house got messy. From Bravo's King's Court, please welcome Dr. Shawonna.
Hi.
Hi, Dr. Shawonna.
How are you?
I am wonderful. So happy to be here with you all. Super excited because I heard you all talking about the show when it first started airing. And then I remember Claudia saying, we want to bring some of the ladies on as they leave off. And I got the message. I was like, me?
You're our first one. You are our first.
Yes.
I love it. Well, thank you for doing the show. We really appreciate this. The show's great. It's a fun time. And it's interesting to see, like, when men are in the position of power, doing the choosing. I actually feel for the women. I think it's a little bit more difficult than like Queen's Court because like it's not really supposed to be our nature to chase men and to, like hope we get chosen. You know what I mean? So I know that's had to be, especially when you're an accomplished woman, you're like, what am I doing here chasing these men? And then, the women. So let's just get into it. Now, you confronted Thaddeus after he kept calling you aggressive. From what we saw, he seemed understanding and apologetic, and I loved that scene with you too. I thought that was beautiful. I think that put him at the top of the list as far as emotional intelligence of the men on the show. I really do. But did things shift between the two of you after that conversation?
I guess you can kind of see in the next episode or so that it was kind of a slight shift there. More so in the space of, I think he started exploring some of the other relationships or connections a little bit more in those scenes. And I kind of just took a step back to it. It was a really sensitive moment for us. Like we were really in that moment. And so being in that moment, having that conversation, the emotions and everything that was happening, I think it did kind of shifted a little bit after that.
I watched that scene and I actually watched it a few times because one, I really appreciated how present you were and listening to what didn't feel good to you, but also, and I don't even know if you were thinking about this in the moment, but how it would feel to other Black women watching it, because it was like your presence to clock it in the moment, to say, hey, I really don't appreciate this. And that sit down was something that was so important for us to see as viewers. But obviously, and you talked about how it shifted. So were you feeling like it shifted because like the emotion shifted because you clocked it in the moment? Or were you just feeling like there were new women involved? This is just what happens.
I think it was probably a compilation of several things. There were new women in the space that they came in. We all had different personalities, wonderful women that I was casted alongside in this show. But I think it was a little bit of everything. It was an emotional moment for us. He's a very passionate person. What you see is exactly what you get from Thaddeus. And so I'm also very passionate. I know that I became more reserved. So I do have to acknowledge that I became more reserved because I was battling internally with what was being said and trying to understand, was I being aggressive? Like, what did this look like? Like, how am I really feeling in this moment? And then at the same time, trying to reconcile with my emotions in that moment. I'm typically the type of person where I don't really show emotions. So I was also in my mind, like, I just cried, like, and in here in this moment, I'm feeling all of these emotions. I didn't like what I was feeling, but I appreciated the way he showed up in that conversation. And I also took a step back. So I can't necessarily say it was just because we had the conversation. I just kind of stepped back and observed. And I mean, I also felt, and I said it in my elimination episode, I kind of felt like he handled the other relationships a little bit differently than the way that he handled it with me. And so the pursuit with them was a little different than the pursuit with me.
Yeah.
A lot of times I really advocate for Black women to take off the cape, like the superwoman cape, that we're so strong, because it never helps us. It really doesn't, because at the end of the day, it's like, she's good. She can handle it. I don't have to like, not pander, but coddle her. And sometimes we're dealt with rougher because they think we're so strong and we can handle it. And I just really want to encourage Black women to like stop. We don't have to be the strong one anymore. I'm going to ask for help for things I can do myself. And I hate that because the only reason we are aggressive or strong usually is out of necessity. When we feel cared for and supported and someone's got our back, we are the most feminine because we feel it's okay. You know what I mean? A lot of times, like, look how we are, like, we have to work twice as hard to get 60% of the money, right? And then we have to do like be overly educated, the most educated group in the country. But then we have to do this, that, and the third, balance everybody, save the world, vote to help everyone, save everybody else's interests, often putting ourselves last in health and vacations, taking care of ourselves, self-care. But then you want us to be in the front lines with everything else and somehow find the way to be super soft and docile when it comes to dating after being let down 1,000 times. So I'm like, what did DMX say? What y'all want from us, basically? I'm trying not to cuss because I already got in trouble this week for using some words. Damn, like y'all want us, it's like they want the virgin and the whore at the same time. Not to say that we're.
I mean, there is a diversity of thought here. Siobhan Lewis says, I love Dr. Shawonna. I was sad when she was eliminated. I'm glad she's on today's episode of Accidentally Informed. She is so pretty, smart, and classy. What were your feelings when you initially got eliminated?
You know, I had a lot of emotions going through me at that time when I was sitting at the table. Of course, we started at the mixer, and in the mixer, you know, having conversations with each of the guys. A piece of it for me was, honestly, I gained some wonderful relationships with the ladies that were in the house. And so like, I still talk to them to this day. So that was one piece of it, was like, oh my gosh, like I have gotten to know these ladies and I'm here with them. These were some friendships. So like, what does this look like as I leave this space? The other piece of it was, I was in a space of, you know what, if I'm not your queen, I really hope that you find what you're looking for here, because there's some wonderful ladies in the house. I don't think we truly had a full opportunity to allow that connection to blossom the way that it could have blossomed. We did have a strong connection. Like I said, Thaddeus is a great guy. We got to learn a lot about each other. We have a lot in common. And so as I was sitting at the table, I was still okay with it though, you know, because as you can see with what you're showing now, like we laughed, we talked and all of those things. And I was just happy we were able to walk away from it and not have any type of ill feelings towards one another. And it was a true seamless exit. And to be able to, now I'm watching and I'm like, I'm rooting for the ladies. Like, I want to see happiness come from that, especially for him as well. And of course for myself. So my king wasn't there, but he out here somewhere. Hey.
Yes, he is.
How did you feel what were your feelings for him? Did you really feel like, did you really like him?
Yeah, like I thought he was a really great guy. You know, it's really interesting being thrust in that type of setting and situation where you're forced to get to know somebody in a matter of a couple of days. Like it's literally a couple of days that you're meeting someone. And so the initial conversation, the personality that came out, and truly being able to be myself. Oftentimes as women, we have to put on that cover letter and show up as whoever the cover letter is. But I was able to show up as myself. I walked in, you know, I was able to be, hey, and, you know, like, I'm here to talk, you know, you can stay if you want to, not if you don't want it to. And to have someone to truly see that and to see me in that moment, it just felt really good. And for someone to be on your level, to like the same things you like, be passionate about the same things you're passionate about. So, yeah.
Dr. Shawonna, first of all, I love your enthusiasm about this. I love your attitude about it. I loved watching you on screen. Would you stick around with me, because we do have to get Claudia off to this red carpet. And I would love to get your thoughts about also like a trending news clip that kind of goes with your time on the show. So if you have like, could you give me like a little bit more time?
Absolutely, I can. And congratulations, Claudia. I'm gonna go check out the movie.
Oh, thank you. And you know what? I love seeing women like you on the show. Like what you like, just, and I'm a fan of a smart girl. I'm very much pro that. I love that you lead with your brain. You're a naturally beautiful woman. I think you'd make a fantastic wife to whoever you want. And I do hope your king is out there. I would love to see women like you have your happily ever after. I know doing this on a reality show was difficult because I was picturing myself like, oh, that's gotta be tough. Like you like someone, then they bring in a new batch of girls every few days, and you're like, you have a connection, and someone else comes in, and then a lot of men have short attention spans. They'd be like, oh, a squirrel, and you know what I mean. And I commend you. You maintain, because I feel like if I had a connection with someone, and then some other girls came around, and you look, I'd be like, hello, excuse me.
Well, you can't do that after you've been called aggressive. You got to kind of calm.
I know. Then
Well,
you're kind of hobbled.
We'll get into that.
Claudia, Erica, I need you to ask her because I want to hear her answer about what she thought about the other two guys. Because
I'm on it. I am on it. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Shawonna.
You go run. And on the 29th, everybody go see this movie. I saw it on Tuesday. It was amazing. So congratulations, Claudia. Enjoy.
Thanks, friend. I'm so sorry. I gotta go. Bye.
No. Bye. Thank you so much, Dr. Shawonna, for sticking around with us. As you know, media. So we were good. And then it was like, oh, okay, we're not good, but we are good here because I want to talk to you about the other two kings. There was Carlos and obviously Tyson. What were your thoughts about those two? And was there any spark there? Because we only saw you connect with Thaddeus.
Oh, girl, you put me in a hot seat. So the other guys, they were wonderful as well. I must say, I know everyone is always asking me like, oh my gosh, tell me more about Tyson. What you see is what you get. And in that very last episode that aired, and to see the genuineness of him actually walking in to talk to Idolize, that's who he was. Like he was literally like, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Like, I'm trying to be a good person here. And every woman was like, is Tyson back for it? And so, of course, they wanted to get to know him and to talk to him. And so I did get a chance to connect with Tyson, but it wasn't necessarily on a romantic level. We got a chance to just, of course, talk and have conversation and to learn more about him as a person. And so he's actually a really sweet person. I read the comments, even though they tell us not to read the comments. But Tyson was a really great person just in general as well. And so I admire the way that he had to juggle everything that he had to juggle. I could not have imagined being in his shoes in that space.
Yeah. In terms of the comments, so you obviously heard Claudia and I responding to the comments. I like to just go fully head on. If there's something that I feel like should be addressed, I will just address it, but I'm definitely not one who lives in the comments. It's just, first of all, there ain't nobody got time for that. But was there a particular comment or something that stood out to you that in hindsight, you're like, I really wish I got an opportunity to clarify that?
I'm not necessarily sure that it was anything that I felt like I had to clarify. Most of the comments that people left as it pertains to me and Thaddeus was just more so about the scene that we had together. Of course, some guys were like, oh, she is aggressive or whatever that looks like. What I will say is that, as women, as you said it when you all were talking about the show initially, depending on where you are in life, there is a point of aggression to whatever it is. I'm currently a CEO of an organization right now. So I have to lead from a different space. And it's great to think that there are men out there that truly see you and they don't look at you as aggressive. They see you as a boss or whatever the space that it is that you're in. And I can say, as I was connecting with Thaddeus on the show, I was able to be in my soft girl era. So like, I understood what he was saying. Like after, we had the conversation, it wasn't necessarily aggressive. It was the assertive piece, which is what I said. It's assertive, not necessarily aggressive. And so that's probably about the only thing that I would clear up from what the comments said. Other than that, people got all types of memes
right
sometimes. And I'm like, you wouldn't do this if you had the opportunity to. And you probably would have.
Exactly. Exactly. It's very easy to throw jabs from like outside of like you're outside of the stadium. Like it's when you're in the arena, it's a very different experience. So just the idea, is this your first time doing reality or television?
First time doing reality. Like I've been on the news and different things like that. But the first time doing reality, I was so scared walking into this situation because you don't know how people are going to perceive you.
Right.
And keyboard warriors, like, they have so many things to say. But yeah.
I will tell you, because I've had other friends who have done reality and like, especially when it's like a looking for love situation. My biggest piece of advice going on, especially if you're a reality show novice, is don't put so much stock on who the contenders are or possible partners are on the show and on set. Like this is an opportunity in my purview for people who are single and intentionally looking for love to put their best foot forward. In what you're basically doing is advertising like, hey, I am out here. And I say that in a very like I say it, I know people are going to be like, I don't need to advertise myself, but it is a sort of advertisement in a culture where people are swiping, they're not looking up, we're not having interpersonal conversations in person, and it is increasingly more difficult for qualified people to meet people who they qualify with. So if you have an opportunity to be on a stage like a reality show and you show up in the posture and position for which you did, I think your chances of finding your true love are exponentially greater. And I think that you played it exactly perfectly right.
I really appreciate that. And I know you asked about both of the other guys, so definitely want to make sure I touch on Carlos.
Yeah.
Carlos is an amazing person. When I tell you, for him to be, you know, all of them are celebrities, but for him to be someone that's still on TV and still doing great things out in the world in general, like he's a really, truly genuine person. And so getting to know him was even more amazing, and interacting with him on set and even post the show, like he's really a genuinely great person. And so the laughs, the humor that he had, he was always checking on everyone, made sure everyone felt comfortable in every situation that we were in. And so I can say that they definitely picked a great batch of men for King's Court. Overall, with all that was happening, you know, we get to see them date and get to see that play out. That's a whole different ballpark. I'm talking about them as individuals. So as individuals, they're great. So people can say whatever they want to say about each one of the guys individually. I got to know them as individuals, and they were really, really nice people.
Well, do you have any predictions about what could potentially happen?
You know, I can't give any predictions about what could potentially happen. I just truly hope that they walk away with either finding their queen, or if they didn't find their queen there, that they have had the opportunity to date several different women in that space with different personalities, different backgrounds, and that they're able to truly know what they're looking for and who they're looking for. And just like us, that person is out there and that they find them. So I just really wish love and happiness on each one of them and each one of the ladies, because again, it was some amazing women that were there as well.
Yeah. And I think that we get the perfect balance between, you know, the little drama piece. Like we need that because it's a reality TV show. But overall, I do feel like there are some sisterhoods and like, you know, things that are really building. And I love to see that. Okay. Before we go, we have a viral clip. It's all about, we'd love for you to weigh in. It's about a relationship. It's going viral. A content creator is calling out older men who haven't settled down, including some celebs. So let's take a look at that.
Give me the wife. Give me the wife. Slim Thug, Shaquille O'Neal, Shannon Sharp. They just some old losers. Oh my God. One of the things you don't want to do is just chase women your whole life. Being a womanizer, that should never, ever add up to being anything that's taking you away from your family and family time, is taking away from the natural joy of your life, the natural wealth in life and living, making life worth living, chasing money your whole life, That makes life not worth living. Who are you getting all this money to spend it with if it's not family?
So your thoughts on that, Dr. Shawonna?
First of all, he was kind of mean. But honestly, you know what? Everyone is at a different place in their life, and everybody doesn't want to be married. Everyone doesn't want to be married. Everyone does not want a family, and they're not looking for that. And so I think that as an individual, allow people to be who they are. Like, I have friends that they do not care about being married. They don't want kids, and that's okay. I want to be married. I want children, and that's okay too. If those guys want to grow old and have all the women in the world, as long as the women that they're dealing with know what's happening, I say be open and honest about what it is. Give us an opportunity to make the decision of what it is. Don't put me in a situation where I don't get to decide if I want to be a part of whatever this triangle is that you have going on, or circle or octagon or whatever it is that you have going on. But, you know, to each his own. Everybody doesn't want the family. If that man said he wants a wife, give him the wife. Now let him have a wife. If those guys don't want a wife, they don't have to have a wife. I mean, look at them. They have a smorgasbord of women. The same thing with some women, that, you know, smorgasbord of men. So I think that was a bit deep for him to go in on them like that. You know, we want clicks, we want views. However, I understand where he's coming from as well. He wants a wife, have a wife. If they don't want a wife, then don't force them to have a wife. I wish we could do a bubble. The people that's looking for love and want a husband and want a wife, we're here. And if you don't, get on the outside of the bubble so y'all can play with each other. Yeah. And get out of our dating pool, and, you know, keep the married people out of our dating pool too, because the most single men I ever met are married. And so, you know, keep them out of our dating pool and we're okay. So as long as those guys, because we see them, as long as they share what they want and what they're looking for as a woman, if you attach yourself to that, then you're saying that you're okay with it because they're showing you that. Now, don't think you're about to change anybody, because it ain't nothing about you as a woman that's going to make a man change if he don't want to change. So just know that. But let them people do what they want to do. Just don't come over here because I want a husband and I want a child.
And you know what? Speak it, continue to speak it, because that's definitely going to happen for you if you're not on that road already, because we don't know unless you want to share something.
No child. And I'm still single right now.
Okay. Well, we are manifesting in these parts. You're obviously beautiful. You're so smart. And you're a star. You really are. You stood out and that's hard to do sometimes. Like when you're in a situation like that, you really stood out. You held your own. We are proud of you. Dr. Shawonna, thank you so much for coming on Accidentally Informed. We know this was like a crazy day. Tell our informers how they can find you, follow you, all of those things.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Dr. Shay Cole. I am tagged in collaboration on everything from Accidentally Informed. So DrShaeCole. On TikTok, it's Dr. Shay Cole as well. And, you know, just look for me on social media, follow me, engage with me. I definitely talk back. And so thank you all so much for having me on the show. I was excited to be here.
Yes, we appreciate you. I'm pulling up just a few things before you go. Dr. Shawonna, next bachelorette.
Yes.
I love this one. Dr. Shawonna was so brave, fun, and beautiful, and I loved her in the mix. People are intimidated by people, and especially women, who are able to effectively communicate and articulate their ideas, feelings. Dr. Shawonna gave a crash course on how to do that gracefully. Yes, Kaya, 1,000,000% agree. So many people on here just singing your praises. So when you're like ever feeling like, okay, I'm just going to I need a little boost, come on to Accidentally Informed's comment section, because people have been riding for you from the very beginning. So thank you, Dr. Shawonna. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you all so much.
You take care.